Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the P-LotPodcast. John here, once again joined by the main man himself, Michelangelo. What's up, cuz?
What's up, man? I see a little different environment that you're in. Maybe
Yeah,
a little different state of mind than
we're at the
usual.
P-Lot Shore
Shore
broadcast
house.
studio. We're at the P-Lot Shore House.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, man, you gotta enjoy yourself. The dog days of summer for everybody. You know, getting these last few weeks of good weather in before we're fully into the swing of the fall and the football season.
Yeah, so especially during football season, like this is like the week. If like I know for like our family, like if you want to go down the shore, like you got to do it now. There's no, especially
Yeah,
if
I
people.
mean, this is it, like that's that middle to end of August, but it's really that middle week of August. Once you get to the end of August, stuff starts starting up a little too quickly. So mid-August is it's really like kind of the stretch run of summertime, I would say.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think our show not too deep today with the topics. We already got one person here sleeping on the floor because he's just so bored of our topics. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about with the Phils. So like we're like in the stretch run, and everyone's just getting hurt.
Yeah,
Trey
it's
Turner last like other night looked like he.
yeah, although he seems fine, but it's like a bunch of the old guys are just kind of creaking and cracking at this point. Little Nervine there, but it's should be fine with like Turner. Wheeler last night, velocity was back to normal, was hitting, up to 96 with his fastball. Everything looked fine from that regard, but the command was still just a little bit off, which is always a bit concerning because it's been roughly a month now. But I did see a pretty encouraging tweet, which is that every year of his tenure as a Philly, he's had at least 1 month with an ERA above 4, except for last year where he had a month with the highest ERA was like 3.9. So I guess it is pretty normal for Zach Wheeler to have like a month or so during the season where it's not so great. It just sucks to go through every time, I guess, and like you kind of forget that it happens by the time it starts up again. You get a little concerned, you get a little worried, but I guess we should have some pretty good faith in Zach, like we always do.
Yeah, and I think also too we're getting big news tomorrow. Well, big news this week. Aaron Nola's coming off the injured list. It looks like he's back to normal. I think we underplayed his ankle injury.
Yeah, I think we thought it was like simply a rest thing. Maybe he was actually hurt. Maybe it was a rest thing. I don't know, but it's been a while. It's been the longest time we've probably gone without Aaron Nola pitching since like 2014. So it is definitely a really, really unusual time where Nola's not taking the ball every fifth day.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that later on. But I kind of want to talk about
The big scare yesterday.
Eagles. Well, I would save the Phillies for later. I think they're more important right
Okay,
now than
that's
the
fair enough.
season. But the big scary news this week was Atlanta Dickerson's looked like a potential season-ending injury he suffered
At the open
on
practice,
Sunday.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, weird play with the footage that it came out. Pass blocking rep. Looks like he might have stepped on Mailata's foot, buckled of some sort, and then kind of went down in a heap. And it was a little. It was a scary 20 hours or so, however long it took before we got an actual update, which was a little meniscus issue, not necessarily a full blown tear. It seemed very reminiscent of the Embiid injury, like
that
his
was
most
thinking the
recent
same
version
exact
of
thing.
it. Yeah, where thankfully it was not, I think, as bad. Or the fact that it was Embiid's like seventh time getting that treatment and whatnot. It's a
Well, the
lot
good
worse,
thing is
but
what they mentioned is if you get like meniscus like snipped,
Mm-hmm.
cover much faster, it come back faster, but it could just have long term damaging effects. And Landon Dickerson has a history of several knee injuries, so
Sure. But offensive linemen too, especially guards for that matter, you're not as worried, I think, generally about the knee injuries like that because the lateral movement is not super like you're not cutting, you're not like, you know, juking, you're not like stopping and starting a ton, like you're not
he's
changing
also
direction,
320 pounds. That's a lot of mass.
Sure.
There's knees to carry too. It's not going to be very
No, it's not
comfortable
gonna
for him.
be yes. But he did get the surgery this week, which was pretty good,
He was
efficient, I
handing out
guess.
beers the next day in practice, and he looked pretty
Walking.
looked fine to us. So
Yeah, so I'm hoping he's ready for week 1. Wouldn't be surprised if he misses it. Don't expect him to miss too much time though, and they definitely avoided the worst.
So we'll talk about the open practice in a little bit. I want to talk about what you saw so far with preseason overall in the NFL. So did you happen to watch any of the Titans Falcons last night? Did you watch any of Cam Ward?
I saw like a decent bit of, I would say, encouraging clips from Cam Ward. There were some layered downfield throws that kind of hit some receivers in the hands that I was
That
I
they
I was moved a little
That's how you
bit.
said hit receivers in the hands, as in they
Yes,
couldn't reel it in.
yes, and they weren't caught. Yes.
So like I agree with you, Michael. My initial take was like, dude, I think Cam Ward could be like this year's like CJ Stroud. Like, guys, just a monster rookie season. The difference is CJ Stroud had Tank Dell, was a promising rookie. Obviously, get well soon. Suffered a very serious knee injury, but he had like Nico Collins, who no one really knew was going to break out because he never had a good quarterback
hmm
that was
It, yeah,
actively
like
playing.
they don't have the worst receiver room in the NFL by any stretch. Like I do think Calvin Ridley is solid, and like I think he still has potential with good quarterback play to like put up some pretty nice numbers. I think Tyler Lockett's, even though we'd probably agree he's pretty washed, I think that's a solid. It's a as small of and as nice as a security blanket as like you can have in the NFL. Really sure-handed guy, knows how to get open. Not really going to stretch the field a ton too more. Obviously, we know he doesn't take hits or anything, but it's a sure-handed player, and then a couple like Van Jeffersons of the world to stretch the field or whatever. So it's not some great loaded receiving core, but it's not like the bottom of the dumps,
Also their running
Detroit for
backs are
last
very
year.
very good at catching the ball as
Yeah,
well.
Pollard and Tajay Spears are solid running backs. It's decent weaponry for a rookie. Like you look at what Drake May dealt with last year with those Patriots receivers and how bad they were. This is
Yeah, that was.
considerably better than that.
I would agree.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, friend of the tailgate, Miles
Yes.
McNair.
Yes.
I wish I had a soundboard, Michael. So when you watch like a sitcom and then like
Yeah.
the popular character of the show walks in, everyone starts going like crazy.
Yes.
It's like
That's basically what that
that's-
was.
Every time he walks in, I need to play that sound effect.
Yes, literally. But overall in the preseason, like honestly, I'm disappointed Shador is not going to be playing today against the Eagles.
They
I
said
thought he
he
looked
may
good.
play in the finale, which I feel like at this point, if they're going to actually have a serious competition at quarterback, the quarterback that looks the best out of all their quarterbacks, this 5 quarterbacks they have, is probably Shador, right?
I agree. I do think though, like you look at the Browns' schedule, it is like hell on earth to start the year. So I think they're going to start a veteran, and I think it's going to be Flacco to open up the year.
I would agree.
And it's like, as much as we can sit here and say, I mean, they stink anyways. They're not winning anything. What's the point in not just starting Shador? I feel like as an organization, you can't really say that before the year starts. So you kind of have to pretend like you're trying a little bit and, start Flacco or Pickett to open up the year. But I do think we definitely see Shador at some point, and ultimately, I think we'll play well enough where it's like you're going into next year like, okay, well, we have Shedeur Sanders as our quarterback. Like it's kind of what I'm thinking at this point with the Browns.
Yeah. Just keeping it on the rookie train here, like, what are your thoughts on Jackson Dart?
I thought he looked like Jackson Dart. Like I wasn't super impressed either way. I still don't love him as a prospect or anything of that nature. I think he does a lot of things similar to Daniel Jones, probably a little bit better, I guess, but I really don't think that like he's gonna I don't know. I don't think he's the future quarterback of the New York
Okay, I
Giants.
think like Jackson Dart's like a Kenny Pickett, Daniel Jones hybrid. He's not quite as
It's like
shrinky
actually
Pickett,
that
but
might
he's
be
not
the
quite as
worst
big and
quarterback.
like athletic as Daniel Jones is. He is big and athletic, Daniel Jones. You can't deny
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Dart's got some
Yeah.
guts, I guess, but
Defense.
Daniel Jones has some guts too, to be honest. He just isn't good. A Daniel Jones Kenny Pickett hybrid actually sounds like my personal hell of a quarterback. Like there is no
Yeah, but isn't it kind of what he is?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. That's not moving a needle, like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, let's just. I think this is a good time to transition to the Eagles and Browns joint practices. So the big news. There's actually two things. One is like Jalen Hurts. I don't know. A lot of beat writers. Well, they're trying. Yeah, struggle.
Listen, we know what this team looks like without like AJ Brown in the regular season, so I can't imagine that in practice it looks much better, And Brown essentially, I don't think he practiced all week, right, against Cleveland. So
No.
I think like we got to stop acting like they'd like ever be fine without AJ Brown. Like simply put, he is one of the most important players on this team. He's a humongous reason why this team took its jump into championship contention every year. He's not practicing. It's not gonna look pretty. Lane Johnson didn't really participate a ton after the first day, or was only playing very, very limited, just so he can let some of the swing guys play. So you're taking away. If you had to like circle two players as when they don't play, the Eagles rarely win. Lane Johnson and AJ Brown are probably the two most important players in that regard over the last like 10 years. So
yeah, so my buddy Zach in the background, he's like my producer. He's like the straw that stirs the drink, John.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. It's true, man.
Yeah, I think my concern though is like, dude, it's like the Browns, and like I can see if you're maybe playing like the Ravens in a joint practice, and they're maybe roughing up on you a little bit, but man, like,
listen, the Browns are bad. The Browns are not good, and you never want to see that you're getting pushed around by Cleveland, but I'm not going to put a whole ton of stock into the joint practice. It feels like if it was full bore, like the Eagles may have never ran a play on offense because Myles Garrett was just dominating everybody, like Mailata included, a lot. But I don't know. Like the players don't seem too concerned. They're like, it's good work. I said it to you pre-show. I'm going to give them grace. We're 6 months and like 4 days removed from the Super Bowl. Or a little less, 6 months and like 7 days and a week maybe. I'm not gonna get on them too bad until the regular season starts. If they come out and they get pushed around by the Cowboys, yeah, I'm gonna be a little annoyed, a little concerned, whatever. But until that happens, I'm gonna sit here. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I don't think they're gonna beat the hell out of Dallas in a few weeks. So.
Yeah, I mean, opening night's usually an extremely like close game. So we got like we mentioned earlier, we do a preseason game today.
Yeah.
And so let me run this by you, Michael. So do you think we're going to see a lot of Tanner McKee today? Maybe because the Eagles could be showcasing him a little bit.
I think we might see him. What did he end up playing last week?
2.5 quarters on. He played 2.5 quarters
in the third quarter. That's right. Like
He probably could have put up like 400 yards if they decided to let him play the
That's
entire
what I'm saying.
game.
How much more? How much more? Not that do you need to see because like we know, but maybe he just plays a half today.
Someone's asking me to trade a first round pick for a guy that started one game and it was a meaningless game against the Giants, who were actively looking to tank that game. If you recall last year,
To play in the one
I would
half
want to
against
see him
Dallas.
play more, at least before I pony up the first.
Yeah, like I think honestly, as enticing as Tanner McKee can look for some teams, I don't think they're in this zone of trading a one yet. Um, I saw that. It's interesting, but I don't. I guess the quarterback injury would have to be pretty serious, and we did just talk about the Rams last week and potentially Matthew Stafford's back being totally jacked up, but.
Yeah, that's so like, bro. Matthew Stafford, you sent me the tweet of like there was like this like trailer where it said like holistic medicine,
He was in like red light
Stafford was
therapy.
being treated in there
Yeah,
outside of the facility. Like when modern medicine can't treat your injury, that's not good. Like that's bad.
No, every sign that has come out of Rams camp and like players' mouths is telling me that he is not playing week one. I don't care that tweet, whatever, just came out that, they expect him to play week one. That is a farce, man. There is no way that they're deciding to not play Jimmy Garoppolo in the preseason for no reason. That Devontae Adams said like weeks ago, he loves catching a ball, catches a good ball from Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I just don't think there is any way he doesn't miss at least one game.
I would not be surprised if like the Rams with Jimmy G as their quarterback is like the Vikings with Case Keenum, where like they'll probably win 12 games because of their talent, and then once they get in the playoffs, it just all falls apart.
Maybe I do think Jimmy G has like, I think he's lost a decent bit from what he was in like San Francisco. Like, not that he was amazing there ever, but I don't even know if he's got that in him anymore.
He was mid. He was like Jared Goff.
I don't know if he's got that in him anymore. He might.
So what do you think about Stetson Bennett?
I don't think much about Stetson Bennett. I think he's
what if he's Brock Purdy with the drinking problem?
He's like
He looked good in the preseason, man. I mean, he's maybe the one you want rather than.
He reminds me of like Josh Dobbs.
You're sitting right next to me. Get on the camera.
He reminds me of like Josh Dobbs, Stetson Bennett.
All right, we got a call in from the new P-Lot line.
Oh wow.
Caller, welcome to the P-Lot podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, this is Miles calling out of Woodcote, PA. Just wanted to say I'm a long time fan of the show, long time listener, first time caller. It's very exciting.
Caller, there's a lot of reverb on your phone.
You mind taking us off speaker?
Yes.
I guess I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Darius Cooper and what his ability to make a team might look like, and what his role in the offense looks like.
Yeah, Miles. I mean, I think Darius Cooper, first of all, that echo, I cannot deal with that.
Michael, I didn't get a chance to test out the P-Lot line yet. So
Miles, why don't you hang up and listen?
Send someone out to gun the roof and fix it, but
Miles, why don't you hang up and listen? But no, yeah. Listen, Darius Cooper, I was moved. I can't lie. I was moved a little bit. It's a lot of chatter for a guy that like I wouldn't be like totally surprised if he doesn't even make the team. Like there are, I think, circumstances around it, but I mean, seeing people call him like Debo with better hands, like that was pretty. I was like, wow. I mean, if he's Debo with better hands, man, we have like
the Debo now with better hands. I don't know if that's much.
No, but I think it was like I think that was like a 2020 Debo with better hands, which like, dude, that's a freak if that's what we have.
He does feel like he's built for the slot. I went and looked up his profile, like his scouting report. He was considered a high priority free agent.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a guy that
could have been picked in the 7th round, I suppose, as well. But I think if there's one thing the Eagles kind of lacked was a slot receiver that could be like a target guy, like a volume guy.
It's just
offense to
receiver depth
Dotson.
last year. I think receiver depth was just pretty weak last year. Like when Brown went out and we're watching rotations of like Johnny Wilson, who we felt couldn't catch last year, and like Paris Campbell in the big 2024, it's like, man, it is dire when anyone goes down. And I get it. You have very top heavy. It's going to be hard to have great depth too. But like Johnny Wilson is what he is. He's a big body, can go get 50-50 balls, can win on just being a large body. But in terms of like speed and explosiveness, like I think that kind of lacks. And I think Darius Cooper's got a little bit more juice in that regard, where if there are some injuries or you just want to give teams a different look with a couple of seemingly quicker route runner sort of guys, like you can run Dotson, Devonta Smith, and Darius Cooper on some plays, and I don't think it would be like totally overmatched, if Brown did have to miss a couple games. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I think obviously with these like UDFAs, you try to find ways to stash him on your roster. I think he's someone they may want to stash if he has another big showing, and especially in the preseason.
Yeah,
because John Dotson's a free agent
sure.
after this year, and I'd rather not have to invest another high draft pick if necessary, especially with like
into your third receiver. No, not at all.
Exactly.
It'll depend on how much Dotson, ends up getting paid. I do think he's found. I think he's like very happy here, to be honest. Like I think he's enjoying not having to be like a top 2 guy on a receiving core at the moment, and I think he's gonna like really relish in that and take pride in the little things. If you're gonna get paid, you're gonna get paid. But if the market isn't like there for him when that comes around, I would not be surprised if he really pushes to stay here again. But yeah, we do have a game today. We'll see how much we see out of McKee. I'd assume he plays the same amount or a little bit less. I feel like honestly, I wouldn't play him in like the third preseason game at all. Yeah, so
I really want to see the corners today again, and obviously Sidney Brown. It's kind of rough. They had to face the Bengals first team. I think that definitely affected their confidence when they were getting carved up.
It's one of the worst like matchups you can draw to open up a preseason in terms of just talent level. So today should be a little more favorable.
Big thing today is you're going to see like the depth. You have an edge rusher play a lot of reps. Like the big concerns, their depth on the edge.
And depth interior offensive linemen too. With Dickerson's injury, we're going to want to see. We're going to want to keep an eye on the guards. See if they can hang around in case they gotta, play a couple regular season snaps, games, whatever. So yeah, there's definitely stuff to look out for. Nothing. I don't think it'll be as exciting as the first game, but
yeah. So as Miles, friend of the show, Miles brought up Matt Pryor, someone to pay attention to because he would be subbing in for Landon Dickerson.
Yeah, they
a couple games.
They have a few names. Pryor's definitely been one that's come up. There's a chance they move like Steen to left guard and then another guy in at right guard, and that could also be Pryor.
Brett Toth.
Could be Toth. Could be Trevor Keegan as well, the rookie from last year.
Guard.
Yeah, who honestly, he looked kind of small out there last week. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully, I don't have to see any of them, but if you do,
yeah,
I guess I'll trust them on whoever they decide.
Dude, I kind of want to see if Sidney Brown injures himself again, trying to tackle someone.
He's just made for special teams. He really is. He's made to be out on the field like 10 times a game, maybe, like at most, on punts and kickoffs and stuff. So
yeah, like we talked about last show, Michael. I was like, he would have been a great player like 30 years ago when just killing guys, like drilling in the head wouldn't really get you penalized all that much. But
yeah, and they let you play with those sort of head injuries.
Basically, like an undersized linebacker who obviously can't play linebacker in the NFL, so he's forced to play safety.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, he just protects himself. I feel like Fangio is not the type of coach that'll enjoy that. Like I think he would think you're stupid, for throwing your body around and hitting with your head down and that sort of stuff. Like it's not like the old school aspect of Fangio isn't like applauding poor fundamentals that lead to injuries. Like there's no shot that that's the type of coach that he is. But yeah.
And we're also I'm getting through my headset. Drew Kuba is going to be playing today, I believe.
Oh yeah. That's going to be interesting.
It's very important because he's basically your CJ Gardner-Johnson replacement.
Yeah, and like, go ahead.
And because like Sidney Brown is just kind of struggled, and he said he's basically special teams. Like he will be the starting safety at some point. He could be starting week 1, or maybe even week 3, week 4. Like we'll see, but
yeah, it could be like a DeJean thing where not necessarily injury related, but
especially if the cornerback too is just like struggling. Like if that's a position they make a trade for at the deadline to like beef up on, like you're gonna want more coverage back there.
Yeah, and Makuba
posing front 7, so you're not really worried about getting owned on the run if you have to put Drew Makuba back there,
Yeah, and like Makuba, his prospect profile drew a lot to what Gardner-Johnson is.
It was pretty much the exact same.
Yeah, like it was like, oh, where have I seen
NFL comp, CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Literally, like slightly undersized, not afraid to break up a pass and hit somebody, good ball skills, like high IQ, run defender. Like where have I seen that before?
Right. So we're going to see a lot of Jahad Campbell today too. I'm wondering more, is it as an edge or is it going to be as an inside backer? Because he's going to play both. But I feel like if the edge, like if Uche or Ojulari just don't show you enough, like Jahad Campbell might be like your swing edge guy. He's going to go and play inside with Zach Bond, maybe some more reps.
I think that's a last resort sort of thing. Like I think they want him to be an off-ball linebacker if they can, but if the edge is that dire in the depth department, then yeah, I think we could see a little bit more of it. But I think they do want him to be just an off-ball backer.
I think so too, but I also do feel the.
Do you think there's potential there that would be worth, like more potential as an edge rusher to tap into than an off-ball linebacker?
Well, obviously the Eagles value edge than they do being an off-ball linebacker, even though they did pay Zach Bond. Zach Bond does so many things very unique.
Sure. Like, Zach Bond, converted, failed edge rusher.
Yes, he's an edge. He was a former edge rusher.
Yeah, into the
best. He does it. I mean, dude, we were playing the Eagles 2024 highlights last night, and literally every other defensive highlight was like Zach Bond, like
tackle for loss or something.
Tackle for loss. And you're right. Yes, Zach, you're correct. In the playoffs, every other offensive highlight felt like it was either Saquon or Dallas Goedert.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, it was Bond. I remember the Brazil game where it's just like, dude, this Bond guy might be a machine, and then he just kind of kept doing that every single week, and it was like, oh my god, this guy's incredible. But I mean, John, we can remember how hopeless we were for the linebacker position entering last year.
Oh, we play this quiz game. It's called BDGE, and it was like yesterday I think was name every second round wide receiver since the year 2020. And the Steelers, like 2020, I was like, oh, that's Chase Claypool. He had 4 touchdowns on Nate Gary in one game.
Yeah, exactly. And we were like concerned last year could have been worse, with the question. We didn't know what Bond was. I'm trying to beg everybody for Devin White to not be playing, and obviously ended up getting cut. And then Nakobe Dean, he was maybe one of the biggest question marks on the team last year in terms of health and if he could actually play in an expanded role. And it turned into one of the strongest position groups on the team with Bond and Dean for most of the year. So, and even
Jeremiah Tyler Jr., I think, has had a kind of a standout preseason / training camp as well. He's definitely someone they love, I think, obviously, as like the swing inside backer to come in. But he's a little undersized, so that's the big concern.
I mean, so is Dean, I mean, I think what's encouraging, I guess, is that outside of Bond, because like Bond's your guy, that second inside linebacker, no matter who it ends up being or whatever, I just think you have a lot of juice in the depth. It's whether it's Dean, whether it's Campbell, whether it's Trotter, those are just guys that are very, very capable. And I think of just showing up and playing hard and being in the right position. Like, I just think that if you do have to move Campbell to edge a little bit more, it's not really killing your inside linebacker spots. I think that Trotter and Dean can handle it. Assuming hopefully that Dean is healthy. But
agreed.
Yeah.
So what is it going to look like when Dean is healthy? Like,
Ooh.
not going to be getting all.
Do you want to get on the show? Like, do you want to be on the show? You want to be on the show? You sure?
The producer.
You want to see? Yeah, our producer Miles brought up a good point. He said, "What's it going to look like when Dean is healthy?" And now you have 4 guys who could. I mean, Trotter Jr. could probably start on like some teams like some of these teams right now.
Yeah, Bond. I mean, it's just not coming off the field, which is good. But it depends how healthy like Dean is. If he's like 100%, like I feel like he's just going to kind of play.
Dean was their signal caller last year.
Yeah, like I think he's just going to play if he's like fully healthy. But if it's like he's healthy, but we don't want to push it, we want to manage it, I don't think they'd mind rotations and stuff with the inside linebacker or riding a hot hand every game, depending on whoever that is, and then just having Vaughn have the green dot all year. So yeah, I think that it's going to be it's like a good problem to have position group. It's one of those situations where they're just really good.
I think another position group who I want to bring up is definitely corner. We're going to pay attention today is Keely Ringo has the lateral quickness of a boat, unfortunately. Not very sure if he's just going to be stuck on special teams too. Because then you have Adderey Jackson, who he's mid. Let's just call it what it is. He's mid. And then we traded for Jacorian Bennett, who now I'm praying that this dude can start. Because I think he is the most talented of the 3. But Pete Carroll, noted defensive mind, just was like, yeah, I don't want him. Get rid of him.
Yeah, that's never, But,
and it was 2 former Eagle front office guys, Anthony Patch and Brandon Brown,
who
are now with the Raiders. Brady hired them away from the Birds, and then one of their first moves is trade Jacorian Bennett to the Eagles for Thomas Booker. And
so maybe they view it as a win-win.
Thomas Booker probably would be a rotation guy this year.
Yeah. What's his name? Who played really, really well interior last week that people are saying we won't miss it? Gabe Hall. Yeah, Gabe Hall looked like a machine. So I think we'll be fine without Booker. But yeah, as far as the corner goes, excuse me, I think, damn, oh my God, okay. I think I want it to be Ringo. I felt like they talked him up so much last year. Even think about during Super Bowl media week where it's Keely Ringo is just not going to play a lot, if at all, in the game. And every question they asked, but who stood out this year, some of the most, or in the secondary when they asked the secondary coach. And the answer you were getting a lot was Keely Ringo, Keely Ringo, Keely Ringo. It was almost like they were trying to prep everybody for listen, we know Slay's leaving, but it's all right. We have a dog waiting. And listen, Jamar Chase is the best receiver, second best receiver in the league. It's going to be a pretty tough task to keep up with. But, that lateral quickness is a bit concerning. That was a known weakness of his. We'll see how much.
Yeah, it's run a wide receiver screen, and all you got to do is just cut the angle out, and he won't be able to make a move on you.
Yeah, a little comeback route, little curls. Yeah. If he's not blanketed on coverage,
Jameson Williams on a wide receiver screen.
I think
make a basically a quick side move, and he's either going to let him get right by him or.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern, I guess, would be he can cover, but it's really that after the catch where if there is separation and he does let up an open man and a catch is made, it's keeping that from being a massive play, a huge explosive play. We talked about it last year at length. The Eagles were great at creating explosive plays and limiting explosive plays, especially defensively. And a lot of that was that they were a really damn good tackling team last year. The games that we felt like were frustrating to watch were the games where they didn't tackle very well, like against Carolina. They struggled to tackle a little bit.
Well, the
Against
Packer game,
Washington.
well,
Yeah.
the Packer game, playoff game, like they struggle a lot with tackling, and luckily Jordan Love, like he's
He
big,
just
so
turned it over
three
yeah,
times.
no. They created turnovers, but they were able to move the ball. So like if
Josh
that was
Jacobs
part of it,
broke like 50 tackles that game.
Exactly. Like that was part of it. So if Keely Ringo is going to struggle making big tackles, when he does give up catches, that could be something of concern where, the Jamar Chase plays is the perfect example. Like a 6 to 8 yard catch turns into a touchdown because he can't break down and make a tackle. That's
Not
worrisome.
just that too, for the overall defensive philosophy of Vic Fangio, he loves like getting quarterbacks like baiting the quarterback into looks like an easy throw. Like you saw it against Cincy.
Yeah, that happened a lot, dude. That happened.
And they would do that all the time. And like Joe Burrow fell for it. Like, oh, I got Chase on, N'Kobe Dean, and then he throws a pick.
Yeah, sure. It's really, you're really correct with that. Like it's a lot of not giving up the underneath, but it's like preventing the over the top stuff. And you can do that at such a great level because you're tight underneath while also just tackling really well. You look at the De'Ami Brown play in the playoffs where they hit a little crosser over the middle and he's trying to make something happen and 3 Eagles swarm to the ball and they pop the ball out for a fumble. It's like, that's tiring. The Cooper DeJean, Derrick Henry tackle that everyone loves so much. That's here's Derrick Henry in the flat, easy check down. Like, he can just make a play and he's getting dumped by the slot corner. Like, it's just, if you have strong tacklers out there, it just makes your life that much more hell because you really can't take the top off this Eagles defense. So
yeah,
corners
especially
need to be able to tackle.
Especially down in the NFL, it's all about getting those plays, getting guys open in space, and then yards after the catch.
Okay, got to prevent it. So do you want to move into the NFC North? Get into that?
Yeah, let's talk about the NFC North. It's a division.
It's a competitive division.
Very
competitive.
Probably one of the best divisions in football, and I do think, though, they're going to take a bit of a step back due to, one team I think is going to take a big step forward, and I do see 3 other teams taking a step back.
So let's start with perhaps the biggest step back, the Minnesota Vikings, I think, personally.
Over the Lions.
Yeah, and I just think we'll talk about the Lions. I do think that I'm praying the Lions take a bigger step back than I think they actually are. Like, I would love, love, love to see it. And I think there's a good chance, but we'll see. They are still very, very talented. But the Minnesota Vikings, we feel how we feel about Darnold. I think I like him a little bit more than you do, but I do think that you're like, he's fine. Darnold is fine. In the right situation, shown he can thrive. If the offensive line was healthy in that playoff game and the pressure wasn't breaking through it every second, I'm sure it's not as big of a disaster as it ended up being. All that being said, the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings this year is J.J. McCarthy. Second-year player, suffered a meniscus tear last year. Like, I just think J.J. McCarthy doesn't excite me that much, man. I mean, I don't know what you think about him, but I am not very much moved by
so
JJ.
here's the thing with Kevin O'Connell is that I think he's one of the best coaches in the league.
I agree.
And he wanted McCarthy, so you kind of I don't see it, but I'm also not an NFL GM, so.
But
what do I know? But at the same time, bro, he looks just so mediocre.
Kyle Shanahan's one of the best coaches in the league, and he wanted Mac Jones.
He looks like a more polished, he looks like a more polished Brock Purdy, except
a little less escapability. Like,
yeah, because he had a really bad knee injury, so I don't. That's
like,
gonna take a year to recover. Like after you recover, you need another year for you to fully get right. And this is like his like prove it season. Like
yeah, no, and
if he goes out and just stinks, like they're not, and they go like 9-8 or 8-9 with that roster. Like, dude, look at here. Like, here's their off season. They picked up Jonathan Allen, Isaiah Rogers, Will
Javon
Fries,
Hargrave.
Jordan Mason, Siobhan Hargrave. Like, they're basically built to compete for a Super Bowl.
Isaiah Rogers.
With their
Yeah.
with their roster too, like that, but they already have a bunch of great players.
Yeah, defensively, they're gonna look to really kind of lean on that again. That chaos defense, under Brian Flores, causing a lot of grief, causing a lot of problems. And then you just look at the offensive side, and I mean, Jordan. How long is Jordan Addison suspended for? Is that 3 weeks,
Games.
4 weeks, 3 games? Okay, 3 games. Jefferson is obviously incredible. Aaron Jones feels like it's a ticking time bomb in terms of like the cliff coming. He still seemingly can make some plays and be dynamic, but it feels like eventually that's going to fall off. Offensive line was such a strength for them until Darisaw got hurt, but Will Fries helps a lot. Ryan Kelly's nice to have. It's a good situation. I'm just not moved by McCarthy. I'll be honest. I really am not. Like, I don't.
Do you think he has the most pressure on him out of all the NFC North quarterbacks?
No. I think Caleb's got some more pressure for sure. And like, I can almost spin more pressure with like Goff and Jordan Love too, where it's like Jordan Love needs to put together a full season. Can Jared Goff, without Ben Johnson, still show successful, season, successful numbers?
About Jared Goff, call him Jared Goof.
That's true. And then Caleb, obviously, I think has a ton of pressure.
Michael. So everybody, Michael's not a huge fan of Jared Goff. When McKee was slinging it against the Bengals, he texted me and said, "John, what does Jared Goff do better than Tanner McKee?"
Excellent question.
And I'm like, I don't know. He dates more attractive women, I suppose, than the Mormon Missile. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean,
look like I think like Tanner McKee's got more like I don't know. He's got more
mechanically. They look pretty similar too. It was like,
dude. So I was watching some of the highlights from that playoff loss they had against the Commanders. Ben Johnson was cooking up some like insane plays, and they still lost because he sucked.
It doesn't really get talked about, I think, enough that Jared Goff. Obviously, the defense struggled, but like Jared Goff sucked, dude. He sucked in that whole game. Getting strip sacked on 3rd and 1. The turnovers are just it's what he is, He's very in his structure, he can be very, very consistent. He can make all the right plays, he can make the right reads, and everything goes great. But he really has this awful trait. It's one of the worst traits ever. That one turnover or one highly negative play creates a spiral of like 10 of them, and it kills you. It's what like Jalen used to do. When Jalen, I think of that Giants game in New York where he threw those awful interceptions, whatever. But Jared Goff, it's like it's one turnover, and it's like, okay, well, I know I'm getting at least 2 more out of him. It's just true. It's very rare that you just see one big bad play.
In a big game, he just falls apart. Even like look at the Niner game a couple years ago, the second half.
It's one bad play, man. It spirals into a bunch. He doesn't flush mistakes super well. He really doesn't. And the divisional round last year was perfect example of that. And I also recently watched highlights. Like, I forgot about the strip sack when they're getting ready to go up like potentially 17-3 or 13-3, and then he gets strip sacked. It's like, damn, that blew. Like, that really sucked a lot of life out of that game. And
it did feel like all Jared Goff had to do was just not
turn the ball over.
Don't screw up. Like,
dude, they were running the ball,
and he just kept it. He couldn't even do that.
They were running the ball at will. It was unbelievable. But anyways, we're getting into.
Do you want to move over? Do you want to move on to the Lions?
Yeah. Fuck the Lions, man. I hope the Lions miss the playoffs. Like, almost more
They're
than
like plus 210 to miss the playoffs, Michael. I kind of want to do a parlay when I get back to Pennsylvania.
John, I can't lie. I already did one. So
You already did one. Okay.
It's for the Lions.
I want to pick the Lions and the Bengals along with obviously the Raiders.
You know who I took in that? I took the Patriots because they have like the odds for them to miss and make their odds for them to make are very close to even, and the odds for them to miss is like a slight favorite. And I'm like, I get it. The schedule's pretty easy, and there's some, but dude, and I like Drake May, but I don't know. That felt a little. I feel like I was going.
Feels like they're going to be that bad team that's going to lose a lot of close games early and then string a bunch of wins.
They're going to be close. I think that 7th seed in the AFC is pretty wide open. Anyways, yeah, the Detroit Lions, they lost both coordinators.
You know what happens when you lose both your coordinators when you have a CEO and head coach.
We'll see how much the knee-biting Dan Campbell holds it through with some different coordinators. Listen, the Lions are still extremely talented, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is a freak. I honestly think we might see more out of Jahmyr Gibbs this year with a new coordinator, and I think that as great as the split backfield has worked for them, I think David Montgomery's health concerns are worth giving him a little bit more limited touches and just kind of having him down the stretch and whatnot. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's perfect for that scheme, gets open, secure hands, etc. Jameson Williams is also really, really good for that role. The star players that they have, the skill positions that they have are very, very good for what they try to run. I do think that their center position with the abrupt retirement of Frank Ragnow was that's a loss, dude. That might be almost as big of a loss as Ben Johnson. Like that being super abrupt and them not really being able to totally, I feel like, adequately replace that. But their offensive line is still, should be good, I guess. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball, they got a lot of guys coming back from injuries. Aiden Hutchinson, how long is it going to take for him to look like himself again? Lee McNeil, how long is he going to take to get back? He tore some late in the season. I think DJ Reed is a nice addition for their other side of corner. I think that's totally an upgrade over Carlton Davis, but
I think the Lions are a year away from being – this feels like the 2023 Eagles, like the exact same situation. Guys coming back from injury, new coordinators, trying to figure things out. But where the Eagles team just has elite level players that are high football IQs that were just annoyed at bad coaching. I don't think the Lions have high IQ players that are going to get annoyed by the bad coaching. I think we're greatly helped by high IQ coordinators.
Yeah, I do think their talent is very good, though. I don't think they're going to stink. They're not going to win 8 games or something like that. But I do think that potentially they're going to. I think they're going to win around between 10 to 12 games, and it might just be a tough division to win, honestly. But 10-7 would be, I think, in most people's eyes, a pretty big disappointment.
Here's something big, and I don't think they can take the next step and actually go far in the postseason. Because not only did they lose their coordinators, Michael, they lost a lot of position coaches. Because when Ben Johnson left, he took several position coaches with him to Chicago.
Yep.
That was part of the deal to get him to stay the extra year, if you remember. He was like, I'll stay, but guys. I can take some of these guys with me, basically.
Yeah. I agree. I'll be rooting for their downfall for sure. Hopefully the coordinators is a big problem for them, but I would say I think I would, if I could, I'd draft Jahmyr Gibbs in fantasy. I do think he's going to get an even more expanded role.
I do kind of feel like David Montgomery, because he's getting more dinged up. Maybe
I think they're just going to want to caution him,
Yeah.
All right.
Where do you think Gibbs is? Where do you think in fantasy? Do you think he should be third or fourth guy off the board?
Yeah, I think Chase should be one.
Bijan.
I think Chase should be one.
Bijan.
I think you could argue Gibbs as high as 2. Really, I do.
Over Bijan.
I think there's an argument there. I prefer Bijan, I guess, but I think there's an argument for it where I don't think if you did it, it would be like the dumbest thing in the world. I anywhere from like 2 to 4 would make sense for him to go. If you can like snag him at 5 for whatever reason, I think that'd be a pretty high steal there.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree with you on that. So
all right, let's head to Chicago. Let's talk about the Bears. Are you at all concerned about the way Ben Johnson is talking about implementing the system and implementing the offense? Now, granted, it took the Lions a couple years, or at least 1 year, under Ben Johnson for them to fully, like the 2022 Lions won what?
I don't know.
8
They
games?
were 7-8 games. If you remember, man, when they first played the Eagles, we were panicking because we were like, "Oh my god, our defense stinks." The Lions, look at all these points the Lions are scoring, and that was before they had Montgomery, Gibbs, and all their like the stars they have now, right? Like,
I think that's when some of the guys got, not Gibbs, obviously. I think was that Montgomery's first? No, for sure.
That was Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams had like 20
right,
rushing touchdowns.
Like 20 touchdowns. Yes, yeah, that's right. That is right.
And he's pretty mid, so like
imagine what they're going to move the ball.
Yeah, like you look at the Bears. Yeah, so I would think the big thing is that Ben Johnson saying, "Oh, if this was a regular season game, Caleb would not have been ready to play because of the system."
Sure.
And
is that like concerning at all to you? Does that? Does he need to get better at coach speak?
Well, when you look at like the Lincoln Riley quarterbacks, which is what Caleb Williams has come from, obviously Baker, Kyler, Jalen, and then Caleb, right?
Is Mahomes a Lincoln Riley guy?
Was he under Cliff Kingsbury in Texas? No, was he at Texas Tech?
Yeah, he was a Tech. Yeah, that's right. He was a Texas Tech.
So here's the thing though, like Mahomes had Reed.
He had Kingsbury. It was Kingsbury.
Jalen played most of his career with Saban and like those, like those guys, and then like Baker had to leave Cleveland, and now Kyler, we're like we love the talent, but we're not sure of like the decision.
He's gonna be able to put it together for a full year.
It feels like it, dude. It does feel like they're semi-system QBs, and now you have Ben Johnson, who had Jared Goff, who we know all of his flaws, but we know he's a very technical quarterback, and he basically does what he's instructed to do very well. Caleb's like the complete opposite of that. He's very much like operates on instincts, the feel of the game and making plays.
Success out of structure,
Right. And now but what's concerning is you hired and paid Ben Johnson all this money because you invested the first overall pick in Caleb Williams. And like, if you're the Chicago Bears, you haven't had a legit franchise quarterback like in your franchise's entire history, realistically. Like, I don't know, man.
If you're like, you look at the Chiefs and Andy Reid, and like, what did the Chiefs under Alex Smith with Andy Reid? I feel like that was very technical offense. It never really fully boomed until Mahomes took over. But the Lions offense, as we know, has boomed with Jared Goff. Like it's been amazing under Goff. But what Ben Johnson, I guess, has to find is that balance of like, you can't fit, a square object into a round hole. If Caleb Williams is really going to thrive out of structure a ton and is going to struggle at the very quick, intermediate, internal processing, like, what Jared Goff is really good at, if that's not his super strong suit, I don't think you can force Caleb to kind of be that way. I think you as a play caller, if you're such a genius, you need to kind of adapt your play calling to kind of fit his style a little bit better, which is maybe some more designed out of the pocket plays and more designed, it's hard to say, oh, design out of structure
It's
because
also worth noting
structure,
he
but
legit had like some of the worst coaching possible last year.
I
So
agree.
this
Yes,
is basically kind of like his rookie year all over again.
it really is.
Where like maybe he should have sat a little bit and had somebody get roughed up, and then he watched, and then kind of come in once the O line gelled, and he kind
Sure.
of felt more comfortable, sort of like a Bryce Young situation.
Yeah. I mean,
Where
you look at
obviously Bryce Young getting to sit for a month and just breathe and like watch and learn, which he didn't like have the year before.
it helped him for sure. You
You
look
know,
at you look at the receivers though. I like DJ Moore. He's like that really good, not great receiver. A lot of positives about Roma Dunze coming out of camp. Luther Burden as well. Um, Zacchaeus as a depth receiver, it's one of the best like depth receivers you can have. One of the best like role player receivers in the league. I think he'll help a lot, honestly. And then Colson Loveland, I think, is going to be a very enticing, important piece to this offense. We saw how much they valued Laporta and used Laporta. And I think that Loveland wasn't drafted in the first round for no reason. I don't think they drafted him to sit behind Colt Kmet all year long.
correct. No, they drafted him to. So the last 2 years in fantasy, a rookie has been the top scoring tight end.
Mhm.
Laporta in 2023, Bowers last year. I mean, if Colson Loveland is, Colson
Could be
Loveland
the guy.
guy, then I don't know, man. If he's going 10th round of your drafts, I think you should snag him immediately. Because I don't think the Colts are going to know how to use Tyler Warren properly.
No, I don't. And then defense, like their offensive line, it's improved with Joe Tooney. They spent some money also with Jonah Jackson.
It does feel like with the Joe Tooney acquisition, the Chiefs were so quick to let him go, and you're like, why he's really important. Maybe there's something there they know where he's just cooked, where he's about
Maybe.
to be cooked.
Yeah,
Like Andy Reid's done a very good job of letting guys go
sure.
before their
And then
decline.
and then defensively, it's
They're pretty good.
it's solid. It's pretty solid. I don't think it's some
Jalen
great.
Johnson, Sweat,
Yeah, I don't think it's some great like loaded unit, but I do
T.J.
think it's
Edwards.
pretty solid. Kevin Byard's back there. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, I think they'll go as far as Caleb goes. If Caleb's going to struggle picking up the new scheme and not really take that step that I think everyone's expecting, I think they're gonna have some trouble. But if Ben Johnson really does start cooking and get a lot out of Caleb this year, I think there's no reason why they can't at least compete, for the division even. So, which then moves us to the Green Bay Packers, who aren't necessarily division favorites, but I think we both agree. I feel like it makes the most sense for them to win this division. We feel how we feel about Jordan Love. There's weeks where he looks great. There's weeks where he looks very, very rough. And there's a lot of weeks in between. I think that similar to like Kyler, we need to just see him kind of put it together for a full year. He's kind of like the opposite where he starts slower and then like really cooks in like December. But it'd be nice if the Packers actually got out to a hot start once and didn't have to go on some mid-season run to get to double-digit wins every year. If they could just kind of put it together from jump. I really like Josh Jacobs. He was incredible last year. I guess Matthew Golden is an improvement for the receiving core, but again, it's still a bunch of just guys. Is Jaden Reed going to really develop into a true reliable receiving option? Is Romeo Doubs going to be pleased with his target share that he gets and not kind of start throwing little tantrums about it? Is Christian Watson going to be able to get healthy and stay healthy? As he's been a very important part in both their running game and their passing game as a receiver. It's just, I look at their offensive line. I'm not super moved a ton. Zach Tom got paid a lot. Eagles kind of roughed them up for sure. And then,
Well, they actually, for the first time I feel like in a while, they actually spent money in free agency. They got Aaron Banks from the San Francisco 49ers. Bit of an overpay, but their O line, which I thought was pretty solid. Not great, but not bad. They
improved.
They improved. They also added Nate Hobbs from the Raiders, who I thought was an underrated guy. But
I like that move a lot. One of my favorites.
They let Jair Alexander go, who kind of gave them some attitude in their secondary.
Yeah, but that feels like a good move on their part, to be honest. Like I think Jair is kind of cooked. I'll be honest.
I
think Baltimore's a good fit for a cooked corner, as like he doesn't need to be the guy, but I don't think he was a good fit in Green Bay anymore. Keyshawn Nixon on the other side, solid. Xavier McKinney had a very good year last year. Quay Walker had a solid year last year. So did Cooper. I think you kind of want more out of Van Ness in terms of pass rushing. You want Rashawn Gary to be able to rush the passer a little bit more consistently. And I think, you need a big year out of Kenny Clark too. Like I guess I don't see a team in this division winning more than 12 games this year. And I really, all things considered, I don't see a team in this division winning less than like 7 games at the worst, So it's going to be a competitive division. I do think the Packers are going to be able to win it. And that's more predicting a downfall of the Lions than the Packers getting like much better than they were last year.
It depends on Jordan Love, I think, man, because
he's dealing with a thumb injury on his left hand already.
Yeah, well, there's always something with him.
There's always something,
some issue or problem he's dealing with. And look, man, not for nothing, Malik Willis last year, like it's going to be I know. It's just like, dude, like what if they start out like 1-3 and Love gets injured and they go like 3-0 with Willis in there, where like last year they were like 4-0 with Malik Willis as the backup.
They have an early bye. I'm looking now at their schedule. Week 5 bye. Listen, their
We're
first
not taking
2 weeks
Sean Clifford seriously.
their first 2 weeks are tough. 4:30 at home against the Lions, and then Thursday night at home against Washington. 2 pretty massive games to open up the year. You do go to Cleveland and then at Dallas on Sunday night, which, like, of course, they should win both of those games, but they are both on the road after 2 tough home games. Like, I don't – if they're 1-3 entering the bye, I mean, I don't think they're going to bench Jordan Love.
I'm not saying Love's getting benched, but he always gets hurt. And like, dude, like
if he's banged up,
if Willis keeps coming in, they just win games with them. Then it's not necessarily like, oh, Willis is the guy, but it's like a Jordan Love is like the problem. Like he's overrated. He's like,
Yeah, their schedule, that early bye. I mean, obviously it helped the Eagles so much, but it makes the rest of the schedule just look so daunting.
Like Jordan Love was the reason the Packers lost to the Eagles in the playoffs. It was like 100. He was like 100% the reason.
Yeah,
Vic Fangio had him in hell.
Yeah, like I think credit's got to go to the Eagles defense there, but
he didn't play well. Like if we're gonna be crapping on McCarthy, if we're gonna be crapping on Goof, and if we're gonna be like, Caleb Williams doesn't know the offense, he probably should be. Then why are we giving friggin' mid Jordan Love pass?
No. They all of them.
I think he has a lot of pressure on him. Like
I think genuinely, all 4
he
quarterbacks
does have a lot of pressure because like there's going to come a day where like we're all making fun of how Aaron Rodgers was washed. Well, guess what's going to happen when Aaron Rodgers retires and then Green Bay, like Jordan Love has a bad game. People are going to be like, oh my God, remember this? We had this at quarterback, and it's like Aaron Rodgers throwing like Hail Mary bombs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do think that that's definitely the North is the most pressurized division in the league. All quarterbacks are very, very much pressurized. But yeah.
You want to move over to the Phils?
Yeah, let's get into baseball.
Nothing going on with the Flyers and the Sixers. So
yeah, nothing going on. I think we got to talk about the most. Like yesterday, Wheeler was a little off.
So on a scale of like 1 to 10 last night, 1 being slightly nervous, 10 meaning you cried yourself to sleep. How scared were you with the Joan Duran being carted off in the helmet cart?
That was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Like, he gets hit, he runs to the ball. I'm like, okay. And then he starts like limping, and I'm like, oh Christ. And they come out there. He looks like flushed, like he looks pale. He could not stop sweating, just standing there. I was certain it was broken. I was like, dude, that's such a
Yeah,
bad look.
it hit under his foot.
It hit. They said it hit right on the outside part of the ankle, and like I thought it was broken. I did the way he was standing there, like he kept wiping his face with a towel, and it's like, dude, it's been 3 minutes of you standing still. Why are you still sweating? I was not excited. Cart comes out, he's hobbling around. It looks like death everywhere, and I'm just sitting there refreshing Twitter, waiting for the X-ray update, and eventually we got good news. So.
And by the way, the visual of him, you're like your last vision potentially of Joan Duran in 2025 is him riding the Nationals helmet cart.
With the red
so
ambulance
on brand
lights.
for Philadelphia sports,
Yeah,
like
the red ambulance light on top of it. They really need to
talk
turn
about
on
why
the light.
Joan Duran was out there in the first place, Michael. I mean, he hasn't pitched in a while, but the other guy he was warming up with was he's the Phillies whipping boy. He is the biggest whipping boy on the team. It's Jordan Romano.
I mean,
looks like a certain rapper from Philadelphia who's a big Sixer fan, Little Dicky.
I think that I think a lot of people got mad at Thompson yesterday, and I think all those people are you're just losing it. I think that it's not a position with the 3-batter minimum rule now. A 4-run lead is essentially a save situation. Like, you don't want to be in a spot you put in Joe Ross or Jordan Romano and 2 of the first 3 guys get on base, and it's like, okay, the tying run's on deck and I got to ramp up to get my closer ready because my 6th reliever in priority couldn't get outs in a 4-run. Like, a 4-run lead it's not like they're up 8, it's not even like they're up 5. Like, it just, you give up 1 base runner and all of a sudden you're sweating a little bit because they got to face 2 more guys before you can take them out if you have to. So 4-run leads in the 3-batter minimum era, I think, might as well be a safe situation. I think more often than not,
felt like a good spot for Robertson anyway, who came in for Durant.
I mean, Duran hadn't pitched since Sunday, and we saw what it was not a few weeks ago, like last week against the Orioles. When they were up 4-0, Duran was throwing. He was going to come in the game. Marsh makes it 5-0. Duran goes and sits down. Like, it's pretty clear that 4 runs or less, Duran is coming into the game pretty much every single time. So getting mad at Thompson, and it's also like it was the freakiest of freak injuries ever. It's not like his elbow or his shoulder or something arm related where his arm wasn't 100% and they threw him out there in a 4-run game. Like, dude, a comebacker came and hit him in the ankle, 94-mile-an-hour exit velocity, which isn't nothing, but it's not like it was 110 like a Stanton ball, and he was gimping around, and we all thought he had a broken ankle. Like, that's pretty unfortunate, but I think that we can't sit here and blame the manager. I don't know. Like, he was put into a spot. I think everyone at the time was like, this is fine. I don't think anyone would have
Thompson would be catching flack if they put in Lil Dicky from the jump. He loads the bases again.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, they should have just put
Duran in. Why are you putting him back out there again?
Yes, and if Duran went in there and threw a scoreless 1-2-3 ninth, no one would have said a word. But Rob, unfortunately, is very much damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. It's been that way for some time at this point. But thank God he seemingly is ultimately fine.
So I feel like maybe let's be more positive. Guys coming back from injury. Got Knowles starting Sunday. I'm excited for that. I feel like he's gonna have to be a big contributor for them in the postseason.
Listen, he's your game 3 starter. I think.
I would agree.
It's inevitable, man. He's your game 3 starter, and I think that I think that's a good thing.
Or maybe he's game. What if he's game 2 and you put Sanchez game 3, so you're up like let's say 2-0 in a playoff series, and you have to go against Sanchez in a must-win game. If
I just
you're
think
like,
is like it's just too good to not have game 2. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like I think he's graduated past the I can go either way. Like he's just a machine. I think he's closer to being the game 1 starter than the game 3 starter. I guess is what I'll say. Which perfectly slots him as the game 2 starter. But Nola, I'm excited, man. He looked really, really good in his last AAA outing, last rehab assignment. The velocity was sitting around 92, which is nice.
but it's not so much the velo for Aaron Nola; it's his fastball moves.
It is, but it's the velo in that like if he's not touching 90, like we're in hell. If he's sitting 90, 89, 90, it's not good. He's got to really be sitting 91, 92.
Well, dude, his
for me to
last
feel
couple starts,
encouraged.
he was throwing like 87.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's pumping the fastball as hard as he can. It's coming out at like 88, 89. It's like, all right, man, this is
Something's wrong.
yeah. And like I think the ankle, sure, but I do think he had some dead on. Absolutely. And it was nice that he was able to get a break, and the Phillies were able to play as well as they have been without him. But I think at this point, with the rotation, the way it's looking, Wheeler's command's a little bit off. Ranger looks like he's having his second half struggles again. I really do think that they could very much use Aaron Nola at this point. So,
All right. So, I would say the big one is going to be Alec Bohm coming back.
yeah, Bohm's going to help the lineup for sure. I think he's going to, at this point, you just need to lengthen the lineup a little bit. Even though we feel how we feel about Bohm, it just needs to get a little bit longer. But when he gets back, things will be in.
We know Alec Bohm's return. It's going to be next week, I'm going to assume, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking next week for sure. He's in AAA now doing rehab stuff. I think it's more so just
as soon as next week during their next homestand,
which is Monday. So maybe he's in the lineup Monday.
I mean, honestly, like they need him back because I would say the big story right now with the Phillies is that Castellanos has just been the worst player in baseball since July 1st. And he's just not getting out of this funk he's in.
He's unplayable, man. He's legitimately unplayable.
He's legit unplayable right now.
Yeah, and they're playing him and hitting him 5th and 6th. It just he needs to hit like 7th or 8th until it all goes to. Eventually, maybe flexes out, but I don't think that it'll ever fix itself at this point. I think that he is just simply what he is, and what he is not good. And we just kind of have to sit here and hope that they can get him out of here in the offseason.
So how do you feel, though, about like the Bader, like the outfield platoon? Like I know the other day it didn't work, but I feel like for the most part it does work.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think they're in a good spot with it. Marsh's been killing righties. I think the platoon where it's not working, quote unquote, is that like Bader's just struggling. And I think that we knew that there was potential for a regression with his like savant page not being super encouraging. And I think we're kind of feeling that a little bit. He's essentially like going to be Rojas level defense in the outfield with more juice than him at the plate. Not saying he's going to start cranking the ball all over the place,
Well, he's probably one of your best base runners as well, which the Phillies are a bad
fundamentally,
base
yes. Yeah.
Fundamentally, they're horrible at running the bases. Guys get out way too easily, you know.
But it's like he's a home run threat, which is like something Rojas was not at all. And he also walks like a little decent bit better than Rojas. And like you could just feel that he's just more of a threatening hitter. And the reason I'm bringing up Rojas is because like that's who he's replacing essentially. Like he is replacing Johan Rojas on this roster, and like that's what it's going to be.
By the way, like your second best base runner on the team is like Bryson Stott.
Yeah.
Like
Probably.
Trey's your best, obviously. Then it's like
Mhm.
Bryson, and he's obviously really been struggling this year. He's turning it around a little bit, but
Yeah, he had a nice last like couple weeks or so. I do want to say, I think that we're seeing, I guess, the end for at least the time being of Otto Kemp. Obviously, when
I think
Bohm
Otto Kemp needs
came
to be
back,
playing left field, not third base. That's why I kind of want Bomer to come back
I
ASAP.
just think that Otto's going to get sent down when Bohm comes back, and I think he kind of needs it at this point. I think the bat has fallen off a lot over the last couple weeks. He hasn't been getting big hits.
Definitely
He hasn't been
someone who's
getting.
going to be in the mix next year, but I think this year it's not.
Listen, I think if you send him down to AAA for a couple weeks and then September rolls around, you get the September call ups, I think he could be joined back with the team. But if you just want to ride hot hands, which is, I think, something that all Phillies fans would like Thompson and the team to do, is that Weston Wilson has been a significantly hotter hand offensively than Otto Kemp has been. And like they are essentially the same. Like they are the same role.
Yeah, it does feel like lately you're like groaning when Weston Wilson comes up and he just laces a ball.
He's getting hits, dude. I mean, he was like the biggest reason why you swept the Rangers series. You know, he was great and was the only reason you won a game against the Reds. So
that and the Capmeister.
exactly, yeah, that's another one. So I don't know. I don't think we're super far away from a potential. I don't know, some more platoons going on. I think Bohm helps a lot, just lengthening the lineup, even if he's not ideally what we need behind Harper. I think that you just look at the lineup and you get very, very discouraged after like JT, who's throwing a heater. Even though the bottom of the order has been better, it just would be nice to have another bat in there in Alec. But yeah, going back at it today, looking to keep taking care of business against the Nationals. You lost the first game, was a rough one. It'd be nice to win today and then tomorrow and take 3 to 4. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of going around,
I guess just
baseball.
talk about one guy, one team we want to talk.
Yeah, dude, the Dodgers are just
no, not the Dodgers.
They're garbage. Like,
The
what team do you want
Dodgers
to talk
were.
about?
I think the New York Mets is who I want to talk about.
Oh yes,
they once again blew another lead late and lost. They have
bro.
been.
The Phillies haven't hit this rough patch over the last like month or so. We're like, they're getting hot again, but like, dude, the Phillies should be at like 12 games on this Mets team, man. They're pathetic.
I agree. The Mets. So I saw the tweet yesterday. They started the year 40, 45, and 24. And since then are like 19 and 44, which is unbelievably bad. Sorry, did I say 44? I meant to say 34. Yeah, 19 and 34, which the only team that's worse is the Washington Nationals in that stretch. So the Mets have been bad. They've been very, very bad. Ryan Helsley literally has blown, I think, every game he's come into for the Mets since the trade deadline, which is amazing to see.
The Phillies were in on Ryan Helsley too. That's the thing.
Yeah, I was
not. If the Twins didn't call back and said, "Hey, swap out Tyee for Miller and we'll do this trade," because that was the original offer. It was Miller and Abel.
Yeah.
Or Duran.
I am going to show this real quick. John, can you see this?
Yes, I will.
Look at this. You see this? Is that being shown on
Let me expand it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's the second half schedule for the Mets. They lost the first two at Cincinnati. Went on a nice 7-game random winning streak against the Reds, Angels, and Giants. Look at this. Look at what they've done since. Are you kidding me? That's horrible. A lot of L's, man. My goodness. And then even like going back to the back end of the first half. A lot of L's, man. After this little win streak against the Rockies and the Nationals. A lot of L's.
Can we just talk about like this guy who's probably been people consider him to be an elite player, and I think he is the most overrated player in baseball. It is Francisco Lindor. Guy was considered elite before he joined the Mets, and besides last season, he's just not been good as advertised with the Mets, man.
Yeah, it's
Great
weird
defender.
he's having a down defensive year too, like in comparison to what he usually is. It's one of those guys that's so good defensively that the solid offensive numbers is like enough, but he's not giving you either of that right now, and it's also part of the reason why they're struggling. Like they're I mean, the biggest reason why they're struggling is their pitching. They're starting pitching.
Well, their pitching can't get swings and misses. So,
John, they haven't thrown.
When your defense is bad and you need your defense to make plays, well, there you go, man.
John, they haven't thrown 6 innings since June. A starter throws 6 innings.
Their bullpen's just dead.
It is. It's really enjoyable to watch. I'll be honest. Like, do I think they're talented enough where they could just snap out of this eventually? Like, yeah. But as time goes on, they really do just look dead in the water. And this weekend, you really got to bury them. By the end of this weekend, like last week, I felt that they really could have buried the Mets. And obviously they screwed around against the Reds. But, take care of business against the Nationals. They're playing the Mariners. I really think you can do some damage here and bury them a bit. So,
well, the Mariners are one of the hottest teams in baseball. They're about to catch.
They're about to come into town.
Very good as well.
The Astros just got perfect gamed through 7 2/3 by
I know.
a rookie pitcher.
I bet Correa and Altuve for a hit, and I saw they had one hit. I'm like, well, I know for check the box. I don't have to check the rest of the box score.
Perfect gamed through 7 2/3 by a rookie who was winless in his first 10 starts, who had an ERA of 6.8 and an opponent OPS of 920. One of the most ridiculous starts ever. But
I do want to wrap up the show just talking about this. So the Dodgers might not win the NL West. Now I think normal years I would say they're going to come back and win. But dude, the Padres right now, man, I think they're just a better team than the Dodgers are.
John, the Dodgers have they struggled for a while now at this point, and we talked about it too. That they didn't punt at the deadline, but they just didn't do much of anything at the deadline.
They need to get a break because Mookie has just been bad, just not good, not up to his standard.
He's sick,
Freddie's old. Freddie's looking older. And their pitching, which we kind of knew entering the season, could be an issue.
John, since June, they're 16 and 20. Or sorry, since July, they're 16 and 21. Since July,
everything with their pitching has just been every possible fear you could have about their pitching, has been realized, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just consistency out of the offense. You're getting a great Ohtani season. You're getting a very good Freddie season. You're getting a great Will Smith season. Muncy's been good since he started wearing glasses. But I think Mookie's a guy that you're just not going to start hitting him seventh, He's just going to keep being up at the top of the order, getting him 4 at-bats a game and just struggling. And you're just going to kind of have to keep chugging it through. Because you never fully sat him down. You never let him rest. You never let him gain weight back. It just feels like a next year thing with Mookie Betts, where you're gonna have to be waiting for next year. Yeah.
And the Padres, though,
they're supremely talented.
Demon bullpen. They got that demon bullpen.
Yeah, the super pen.
Their starting pitching, though,
it's the weakest part, but it's serviceable, I guess. And their lineup,
they're trying to trade
Cease away, yeah.
Dylan Cease away, and they're sort of just kind of like the Phillies need with Nola. They just need him to start being good.
Yeah, no, I agree. But their lineup is also really talented. Laureano's been awesome.
Laureano, he's probably gonna flunk another drug test. Last time he was hitting this well.
Yeah.
He got suspended 80 games.
Machado's been great all year.
And then like O'Hearn, who like kind of, I hate to say it, Michael, I do kind of feel like this could be if the Phillies don't go through. I think it's San Diego right now.
It's hard to ignore what the Brewers are doing, but I can't help but think that the Brewers are going to have a 500 September and then get bounced in the first
I think
round.
I could see them just collapsing the last 2 weeks, like they just fall back down to earth.
Yeah,
because they're a big analytics team and they know how to play the numbers. And then once the numbers, don't go your way,
they win on the margins, man. They win in base running. Like they're the best base running team by miles. They're good defensively. It just who knows? We'll see. But anyway,
that's it for our show today, everybody.
That's our show, everybody. Appreciate John for working with us in the environment that he's in currently. But yeah, we'll catch you next week.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.